Christian Klier, North Coast Grape Broker for Turn Time Brokerage, here with your mid-harvest crop and market update. Well, we're about halfway through the harvest, and it is September 22nd, 2022, and boy, we've had some challenges this year. Started off with some early spring frost and late spring frost, and then some late spring rains and early summer rains that definitely threw some curveballs at growers this year. Those who were challenged with water this year suffered through those frosts and definitely brought the overall tonnage down in the North Coast this year. We're hoping for a stronger crop this year from 2021, and I think we do have some higher numbers than last year, but overall in general, we're saying it's going to be a below average crop in the North Coast. That being said, the growing season was not an easy one this year. Farmers had to suffer through the spring frost that I mentioned earlier, and then struggled with water again through the growing season this summer, and then got hit with a heat wave right before harvest or right at harvest. The heat wave definitely posed challenges to both the growers and the wineries this year, with Cabernet and Chardonnay all coming ripe at the same time. That definitely put challenges on the wineries to get that fruit in. Some vineyards suffered through that heat wave. We saw temperatures at 110 and 118 degrees in the North Coast for definitely almost 5 days straight. That did cause damage in the canopies in the North Coast, which also caused fruit to mature very quickly, which then caused challenges for the wineries to get all that fruit in, with space and capacity definitely being a challenge for those wineries. After the heat wave this last week, we've had rains up to 3 inches in some places, which also threw another curveball to the growers and the wineries. Definitely brought harvest to a screeching halt, and that let wineries get caught up on the grapes that they had brought in, which helped the wineries make more room for the rest of the grapes still needing to come in. We did think that this was going to be a record early harvest, the way things were going initially at the onset of harvest, but with the slowdown and the cool weather and the rain, that's definitely going to put us back to a more normal pace in harvest this year. The market has stayed very strong in the North Coast this year for grapes. We saw a lot of activity, a lot of wineries still out contracting fruit in 2022, and we predict moving into the first quarter of 2023 for that to stay the same. So make sure you get your listings to us early and soon, and let us get started on that for you and finding a home for that fruit in 2023. I'm here in a Sauvignon Blanc vineyard again this year, and this fruit's about ready to get harvested. Should be coming off the vine tomorrow. And Sauvignon Blanc, probably the hottest varietal in the North Coast this year. We saw record pricing in all 4 North Coast counties this year for Sauvignon Blanc. Wineries are still looking for it and looking for it into 2023. So let us know if you have any availability, and we will start marketing it to the wineries that are still in need. Most wineries probably did not meet all their allocations with the lighter crop this year, so we believe they will be active again early in 2023. Region by region, Napa looked like they had some strong numbers on cluster counts early, but we did see some shatter at bloom, post bloom, and that brought cluster weights down. We are thinking that the Chardonnay looks light, and Pinot Noir is also lighter than average over there. Cabernet may be close to average, but just below. The heat wave really zapped the weight off those berries a couple weeks ago. So hopefully they can make some of that difference up with this rain and not too many other problems post the rain event. But I know farmers are staying active and getting sprays out and doing what they can to keep this fruit viable for the wineries. Everybody wants to bring their fruit in the house this year. We do still have some opportunity in the North Coast for late ripening reds, and if you have any needs, let us know. Sonoma County, definitely lighter crop in Chardonnay and probably lighter crop in Pinot Noir. Sauvignon Blanc seemed to do very well in Sonoma County this year. We heard of some record high tonnage per acre on Sauvignon Blanc this year, which will definitely please the wineries who are still actively looking for this variety. Mendocino County seemed to have a pretty strong crop of Chardonnay this year, although that heat did zap some of the weight out of it, and we are still predicting, though, a fairly decent crop of Mendocino Chardonnay. Lake County looks strong on Cabernet. The people who had water said a fairly decent crop, And we do still have opportunities on red blenders and Cabernet in Lake County. So give us a call if you have needs. Overall, in general, we're calling for a below average crop on the North Coast, which will lead wineries to continue contracting into 2023. I know it's not going to be a great return for growers, but we did see some pretty decent pricing in 2022, and we predict that to stay in effect through 2023, at least the first quarter. That is your North Coast crop market update, mid-harvest. I'm Christian Klier. Give me a call. I'm happy to discuss with you your future needs and any opportunities for fruit you might have available. And remember to call the #1 brokerage, Turn Time Brokerage, for any of your needs.
Hi, Audra Cooper here with your Central Coast Harvest Update. Today is September 21st. We have perfect conditions for hang time. It's 86 degrees and breezy. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect day to take a video in the vineyard. It is rather bright out, hence the reason why I'm sitting under a vine. And you get to see Paso Cab as well as I talk to you about harvest. We had a historically early start to harvest for most varieties in most areas of the Central Coast, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks early as compared to last year and the previous year. As we went into harvest into late August, we did get a heat spike that went well into September. That heat spike will be probably the most significant event of the 2022 vintage. It did affect what would have been a average to slightly below average crop. Now is a significantly light crop, comparable to 2015 and possibly 2008. Could even be lighter than that depending upon how things pick out over the next several weeks. Early on, it was projected that harvest was going to be over sometime in mid-October. That is unlikely now. We will probably go into Halloween, possibly even the first week of November. We're only 25 to about 35% of the way through harvest, depending upon which county you're talking about. How much did the heat affect the overall crop? Well, that remains to be seen, but certainly it has affected Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. A lot of the reports coming in and weigh tags are showing that the crop is off anywhere from 20 to 35%, and that is compared to a 5-year average. Please keep in mind that the 5-year average does have some pretty big crops in it, but it also has some light crops in it as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the total numbers show come February when the preliminary crush report comes out. As far as what we have currently available, there's not much left on the open market, and I do anticipate being sold out by October 1st. We do have a couple truckload lots of Pinot Noir left throughout the Central Coast, as well as a little bit of a small lot red blenders such as Zinfandel, Malbec, and even a little bit of Petit Verdot and Sangiovese. In regards to overall demand, we have seen an increase in demand just based on the lighter crop, but it is very specific to current contracts. So in other words, there's not a lot of new business occurring. Most of it is buyers going ahead and taking an additional volume where available on current contracts with current growers. So not a lot of new business occurring, primarily because of the logistics of harvest. It has been so fast and furious. It is slowing down now, but a lot of the tanks are starting to back up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call. Based on this light crop, we do anticipate a very early start to the 2023 market. So please let us know if you have anything available or if you have any needs. Happy harvest.
Hello, my name is Mike Needham. I am the Valley Grape Broker for Turn Time Brokerage. Today is September 22nd, 2022, and I'm here to give my market update for harvest 2022. So we're roughly 50% completed with harvest. We just had dealt with a historic heat spell the first week of September, which elevated sugars and progressed harvest. And the wineries had to deal with that, trying to get anything that was close to being ready to harvest at that time. Basically had them scheduled out for a couple weeks after that. And then since then, we've seen a cooling trend and some rain that has slowed down the pace of harvest, and sugars dropped some. So now wineries are waiting for those sugars to come back up and to get those scheduled out. The crop yields so far have been hit and miss, with more misses than hits. The whites for the South Valley and had come in below estimates. And when you got farther north in the valley, the yields are kind of all over the place, and it kind of depended on who has water, did they get frosted, and were they able to irrigate early and often enough and to ward off the heat spell also that we saw in the beginning of September. As far as market activity, it has been pretty quiet this harvest, as most of the grapes are contracted, and haven't seen very few overage hit the open market. So it's been fairly quiet this year. So as we finish up harvest here in the next month or so, please let us know what you might have to sell, or what, if you're looking to buy, if any of your contracts went short. And then right after harvest is over, we'll start working on the 2023 contracts. So please reach out, let us know what you have to sell and buy. Look forward to talking to you soon. End of a successful 2022 harvest.